Breaking, Justin. This isn't actually breaking. Sorry. This is on our notes. Nintendo, you love them. They have apologized.
You love them
officially. They've apologized for the performance of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the Switch. They basically said in a tweet, when was this? November 30th. So at the end of this past week here, or Wednesday. They said a software update for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet version 1.1.0 will be released on December 1st. Please visit our website for more information. We take the feedback from players seriously and will continue to work on improvements to the game. They are apparently working on improving the performance for Scarlet and Violet. The patch, however, doesn't necessarily say what they've fixed. It more just says it more just says like, we have heard the feedback.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. Because I don't know if you need to hear the feedback, Nintendo. Play the game.
Yeah.
Like it's funny to me because it's just one of those things where like I think that the performance of this game, while some people are having like different not reactions to it, are seeing it more than others, I think, or in specific places more than others. I do not think it takes like a lot of time and research to figure out like, oh no, the frame rate's bad, the pop-in's terrible, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know. I go back to like, I don't want to sound like I'm excusing the way the game runs and the kind of bugs that I've seen with it. Like, and I know that Pokemon is like one of the most like highly profitable entertainment properties ever, probably, right?
It is the most.
The most, there you go.
Yeah.
But like, it's not like the Pokemon company has ever released a fully open world game like this before. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like,
it's just, yeah,
it's like the growing.
Well, I guess they did. What's it? RCS. Although that wasn't like fully open world,
and it didn't run well. You know what I mean?
It's one of those things, right? Where like it felt like Pokemon Legends Arceus was testing the waters, right? It wasn't a fully open world. It was segmented areas, and when you have those different segmented areas, that felt like a potential technical test to see what they could get away with and what they could do. You play that game, and it's like, oh, not much. Like, oh. Hey, sometimes when you do a test, it doesn't work so well. Like that's what a test is. But like, I don't know if they could have learned anything from that because it
just happened. It just happened
like 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know. And I think if I were a Pokemon company, I would maybe just hire people to make the games, who knew how to like.
I do think that's easier said than done because like I'm sure like the exact like company that does the games normally or employees do the game, they can scale up to a certain degree, but like kind of coming in and gutting that core team and bringing another team to do something like that would take a lot of time. So like, I guess my thing about this is the fact that this is happening and this is the story, I hope is enough for the next time they decide to come out with an open world Pokemon game that they do in fact bring in the more resources and the more people to help make this run. Because again, all of the Digital Foundry stuff about this game is mostly talking about how it's just old, antiquated design philosophy that's making the game run like this. And if they can like really like start updating that stuff, I would hope that they learn from it and like rethink what to do with a game like this. And I hope it doesn't make them go backwards and all of a sudden make them go like, well, we're just going to do another like top-down, game that you can't, it's not really an open world, back to the original stuff. Because I really hope like this is the future of Pokemon because there's so much good stuff about it. But I do think there is a lot of technical bad about it that is not necessarily ruining my enjoyment of the game, but I think is ruining a lot of people's enjoyment of the game.
I vowed when I got an Xbox Series X and I played a game and I noticed the shift from 30 frames to 60 frames in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I vowed not to be that guy who is a 60 frames per second snob. And I'm not that guy. Still, I'm not that guy. I think you got to be hitting 30 for me to give it the old technical pass. Because I'm not trying to be dramatic. I cannot play this game on a TV. Like, I can't play a doctor on a TV. It makes me a little motion sick. Because it's too jerky. It's too, it's too, jarring. It works okay. It feels better in handheld because I think it's a smaller screen. I guess I don't know why. For me, it feels better in handheld. But on a big TV, it kind of turns my stomach over, which is not good.
Well, and you're definitely not alone with that. I didn't play it on a TV yet because that's not how I consume things. And I guess part of my head when I'm playing this is I still think of Pokemon as a handheld game, and I know the Switch isn't necessarily just a solely handheld system. It's supposed to be
a hybrid.
It's supposed to be bringing console games to handheld modes and stuff like that. But with that, I mean, I just imagine 5 years ago getting a game like this.
Oh, well, and that's the thing. 5 years when the Switch first launched, if this came out, it would have been a moment. Now, I just don't think it is not where it needs to be, and I just find it to be a little disappointing. Yeah, I'm enjoying the game, okay, but I sit here and I wonder what if you gave this to the team who made Xenoblade 3? What if you gave Pokemon to them, and you know what I mean, so they could make those environments, because I also think I think the environments are kind of boring. I think the first environment's pretty cool, but there's so many that are just it's a field. I'm okay. It's a desert. Yeah, right. Which is fine. That works for Pokemon in the past because it was the top-down stuff. But you give that to Xenoblade, the people who made Xenoblade, gosh, that makes me I would love that.
I don't disagree with you, but I think that Xenoblade had Chronicles, Xenoblade had 2, Xenoblade had 3, had X, had all the remakes to really work on getting to where they are now. And personally, selfishly, I'd rather than fucking work on another Xenoblade game.
100%. I guess I'm just saying give this to a studio that has made games of high caliber on the Switch. Of this kind, right? Of the open world variety, where it just doesn't. I think we talked about this last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago, that so many people have seen this game and attributed it to the Switch is an old piece of hardware, and that is true. It's not super powerful. That is not incorrect. But I think that this is the work of a developer that doesn't know what to do with this hardware, or doesn't know how to make these sorts of games, as proven by the Digital Foundry stuff you're talking about, as opposed to this being about the Switch's pound for pound computational power. And obviously that is true. Obviously it's a problem. But.
And to really hit the interesting part about this is that I didn't realize, I understand when people say this is so quick for this game to come out, 2.5 years after Sword and Shield? Is it even 2.5 years? 2 years?
It was 2019.
So 3. So yeah, 3 years then, I guess. That seems like a quick turnaround, right? But they can't wait on this, because if you've been following the anime, they just finished the Sword and Shield arc.
Right. Yeah. It has to
so
be in.
They gotta move on, and they gotta keep going forward. And I think at a certain point, that becomes the problem, because this game could have used another year, and I think the mainline Pokemon fans wouldn't have been upset if it had another year. But it can't wait another year, because if it waits another year, it puts everything back in the Pokemon gears and cogs back. And I think the funny thing is that probably the game part of Pokemon is such a small part of that whole overall piece of what they do.
Oh yeah. So think about all the merch they're selling.
Yeah. So to them, it's all right, we'll release this game. It's not great, perfect, whatever. We'll release it, but we're gonna keep moving forward with the rest of this industry. And ultimately, I don't think this game will hurt that. And I still think that maybe people might be hesitant on the next one, but your main core crazy Pokemon fans like me will buy it no matter what.